Hey guys, today I just wanted to do my first tattoo progress update in quite a while. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been, but it's long overdue as far as I'm concerned, and I can't wait to keep going with this, and I've got some really cool things to show off. So I'll get right into this. In an earlier video I mentioned that I was toying with the notion of doing some red ink highlights. I had lots of time off getting tattooed to think through exactly what I wanted to do, and I came up with a plan, we'll say, to go forward with my some of my new bodysuit stuff. So I don't know if you can see, but we've started a little bit of red here. It's hard, I think it's probably hard to see it. Gotta get the light just right. But we're going to be doing red highlights in these eyes. So what I want to mention about this is the red ink as it went in was quite a bit more solid looking right away than the white ink. It still is. When we did this white ink moon, like even as that day went on, the white kind of grayed out, or like it browned out almost as it was mixing with the black under the skin. Sort of even after the first hour, it was changing colors. It was like mushing up and going gray and white and, or not white, brown and yellow and weird. Like, and then the next few days, it just kind of kept mixing and changing. And I was kind of like, what am I going to get out of this? Like, it doesn't look white. Now it does. It looks pretty good now, right? But the red ink hasn't done that. The red ink has stayed the way it was put in from the first step. So it hasn't really changed or gotten darker or brighter or orange or brown or anything. It's stayed pretty well identical to how it was. So in the early goings of this, the red ink has worked better than the white ink, which is very strange. You would think that color would be hard to get over black, but I went in with the crazy idea of I'm just going to pitch it to my artist. We haven't talked about red on black previous to this at all. I talked to him briefly about color over black, and I said I didn't really want any, and if I did any, it would be, you know, sparse highlight maybe. We both kind of giggled at it and moved on, because we both know I used to have a really colorful suit, but obviously I don't want to get into that again. So I want to keep these color highlights pretty, you know, subtle, but I think that red used in place of white in certain things is better. I think in particular with these spider eyes, once they're colored in red entirely, even if they don't stay bright red, because that's not what I'm expecting. I'm expecting them to go almost like a maroon or like a blood red. Even if they go darker red, I think they really go with the eye that I've got and some of the red highlights on my chest and stuff. So like we've got the red in the eye here, and then I've got some red in my headpiece, and obviously there's some red tones in the roses and stuff. So I already have red ink. Makes sense to add a few more places with red. I wasn't sure how he was gonna react when I brought it up to him. I was a little on the fence about the application end. I was kind of like, what's he gonna say? And he was more than cool with it. In fact, he thought it would cover better than white. As much as people love the craze of white ink, in cover-up tattooing, white ink over black doesn't make as much sense as some other things. Which I do know that. I knew that before I asked him. But I still am hesitant. Anytime you're going over a solid black like that, I'm hesitant about pushing the envelope too much, because there is going to come a point where we're going to try something that doesn't work. And this could be the point. I mean, this hasn't peeled yet. But it's staying really red. I can't imagine that this is going to peel all the way off to black. But if it does, then obviously I'm going to show that. I will say the ink we used was closer to a white ink base. Like, it was thicker like a white ink is. It's like a highlighter red, and it was incredibly bright red. It was like really, really, really light, bright red. Because if you're going to go over black, you need to go over it with something, not the color you want necessarily, but a color that's a few shades lighter than that. At least a few shades lighter than that. Because we used a bright red hoping to get a dark red. Now, if we were to put a dark red over a black, it would probably turn into nothing at the end, or brown, or some other color we don't want. So that was just part one of the session. Obviously, that took like 3 seconds to do, and we just did 2 spots just to see if it would work. The other part of the session is we hit the biggest tentacle of all. I think it's the biggest tentacle anyway. This guy here is now finished. So I don't know if that shows it off good. But there was some pain in that one. Nothing too crazy. Just in that deep black. Again, where you're shading with, 7 and 11 mags. It's not quite the same as a broad mag like the 2027 that I'm used to. It packs a bit of a bite. But in those teeth there's going to be white ink. And then there's a few eyes in this tentacle as well. And if all goes well with the red in the current eyes we're working on, then obviously there'll be red in that too. So, yeah, that one's doing really good. I think that's probably my favorite tentacle so far. And, yeah, so I'll show the other one that I just did last. It's still looking really good, so you can expect that the new one will look quite a bit like that. Obviously, it's a different tentacle, but it'll look very similar to this one when it's healed. There might be some slight variations in the blacks, because blacks, and this is part of why you need to do blackouts sometimes more than once, blacks tend to heal a little bit different depending on what you're eating that week, how you're taking care of it. Sometimes the skin is getting more welted up during a session, or sort of more sick of the tattooing, and then you end up healing a little worse. So sometimes blackouts will take a little longer, and that's the same thing. We may need to touch up parts of the solid black. But anyway, yeah, that was I would say that was about 2.5 hours in total. Sorry, I'm screwing with the camera. 2.5 hours in total, I would say, for all of that. Now, next time, we're going to be, if this red heals, and I'm pretty sure it's going to, the way we want, obviously we're going to add the red to the rest of these eyes. And then we're going to hit a very small tentacle on the side of my left waistband, or like hip area. We'll do that in one session. And then the plan after that is to head on to these guys here, finally get to these stomach tentacles. So we got 2 in here, and they're probably not showing off, but there's 2. One is going to come kind of over the top, and the other one's going to come under the belly button. So yeah, here, bottom and the top are going to get framed in, and once we get these 2 frontal tentacles in here in a week and a half, we're going to do one in 2 weeks, and 1 in 3 weeks, I think. So once we get these guys done, this suit is really going to be starting to make sense to people, I think. And it's going to be the kind of thing that where I show it off on Instagram and stuff, I think that's the point where people are going to start understanding just kind of the possibilities of this, where so far whenever I've showed any of this stuff off, it's been like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's subtle. It's barely there. Like, it's whatever. Yeah, once you start getting these frontal pieces that are kind of in your face done, that's when people are going to go, oh, shit, black on black's a thing. That actually works. Because I think that a lot of people are looking at this as like kind of like a cute sideshow act, or like, yeah, but it's not really a tattoo. Like, yeah, it's cool that you can kind of get away with something with Blackout after. But let's be honest, guys, it's not really going to look that good. It would look better if it was done on a fresh canvas. Like, that kind of an attitude, I think, is pretty prevalent with this. But I think once we start getting into the core agents of this, people's minds are going to start changing on that. And the thing is this can never become trendy either. Like, I'm not saying, oh, I'm an original, or oh, this is so unique. But the facts of the matter are clear that unless you're willing to do hundreds and hundreds of hours in multiple layers of tattooing, this can't really catch on as a trend. Not in the way I'm doing it anyway. Because it's just too much money, too much pain, too much dedication, too much of a long game. So it's not really entry-level friendly. So it will be something that's just always, even in me creating more awareness around the subject, it's with the understanding that this will always be in the ether or on the frontier or in the misunderstood category, because it's just not going to be accessible enough for many people who would even want to get it, rather than just the people who don't like it. It's always going to be kind of macabre or avant-garde in a sense. But yeah, anyway, I'm super excited about this red. So I'll show it off one more time. So it's got kind of like a blood red, crimson red kind of look. When this peels, I'm expecting it to be a bit different than it is now, but still pretty bright and definitely noticeable. So we'll see how it goes. And in either case, I'll be making another video here probably a week's time, and I'll be showing off how that healed. And if it healed well, I'll have a lot more red ink to show off over black, and one more tentacle too. So anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this video, share it with your friends, and I'll talk to you again soon.